Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live. I am Lisa Kelly. I'm the Director of Digital Media here at Fisher House Foundation. And we are streaming across multiple platforms, and we're so lucky to have you join us today. I am joined today by Shay Spencer Watson. And Shay actually leads the program, the Fisher Service Awards, and works directly with the nonprofit organizations across the country. Shay, we're so excited to have you today.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Lisa. I'm so excited to be here with you and all of you joining us live. Before we get started and jump into this to give people some time to come into the live, I'd love for everyone watching to take a moment and introduce yourself in the chat. Give us your name, your organization, and where you're joining us from. I love seeing the reach of this community and the work being done across the country. And we're going to keep this fun today, okay? So we're going to be giving away a few Fisher House swag bags throughout the session for those of you engaging with us in the chat.
I love it. Should we just jump right in and do a quick giveaway for all the people who have tuned in right away?
I think that's a really great idea. And while we are selecting that person in the chat, I just want to really get in here and just talk about what this program is all about and sharing why it even exists. So at Fisher House Foundation, we're deeply committed to our mission, but we also recognize that we cannot be everything to everyone. Across the country, there are organizations doing meaningful work, innovative work to help support service members, veterans, and their families in ways that are critical and impactful. So we created the Fisher Service Award to honor and invest in that work. You know, this program exists to elevate organizations that are meeting real needs through innovation, to provide a national platform that increases their visibility and to ensure that they have the recognition and support they deserve to continue serving the military community. This is not about funding. This is about visibility. And it's about standing behind the organizations that are showing up each and every day for those who have served and their families. So we are proud to have partnered with the Military Times, whose commitment to the military and veteran community helps amplify the voices and impact of the organizations that we support. And Lisa, I did the math on this. Since 1999, we have awarded more than $3.8 million across 215 nonprofit programs across the country. And so
That's
this
amazing.
we will continue that, and we're going to award $400,000 in funding. And each recipient will also receive $50,000 and a national advertising package from the Military Times. So we definitely want to shout out our chairman and CEO, Ken Fisher, and our president, Dave Coker, who just continues to increase their commitment to this program and invest in all those organizations doing the great work. So if that's you, we want to see your application.
Absolutely. So we actually, congratulations. We have a winner. We have Laura Lindsay, and a member of our communications team, Stacy Billadu, will reach out to you and get your email address and your mailing address, and we will get that swag bag out to you.
Yes,
So
congratulations.
yes, awesome. So let's just jump right into some of your questions. We've got lots of different questions coming in. Shay, you review hundreds of applications each year. What makes an application stand out to you?
Okay, that is a great question. So the strongest applications are clear, they're focused, and they are easy to read. Our judges are reviewing hundreds of applications, so you want to make sure it's easy for them to quickly understand your program without having to work for it. After reading your application, they should be able to clearly answer four things. What problem are you solving? Who you serve? Is this program sustainable, and what impact are you making? When you're writing, be direct and specific. Don't assume that the judges know your organization. Write it as if you're explaining your program to someone hearing about it for the first time. Explain the problem clearly, be specific about who you serve, and walk us through the solution in ways that show what makes it effective or different. Then show us the impact. Tell us what has changed because your program exists. How many people have you served? What outcomes have you seen? What difference are you making? The strongest applications show real results, not just intention. It's not just we plan to help. It's here's what we have done and here's what we know what works. You know, make it easy for these judges to advocate for your programs.
I love that. You know, we hear the word innovation a lot when it comes to this program. What does that actually mean here?
Great question. We recognize there may be others doing similar work, but what makes your program unique? You may be serving a population that's often overlooked. You may be delivering services in a new and unique way, or you may be improving an existing model so it works better. We want to understand what makes your program different and why it works.
I love that. What are the eligibility for anybody who's looking at this, especially with a fresh face? What are the eligibility requirements for Fisher Service Awards?
Okay, that's great. Great question because that actually changed a bit this cycle. So of course you have to be a 501c nonprofit. There may be numbers after that. We're not concerned with that, but just making sure you have that 501c status. You have to obviously have that innovative program, and that program must improve the quality of life for active duty reserve, National Guard, veterans, and or their families. You also must have, this is the change, your program must have been in existence for at least 2 years. Okay. So I know a lot of you have programs that are new, but we want to see that you guys have been in existence for that 2-year mark. And then finally, your program, if it say is an idea, must be established and executable within 12 months of the 2026 application cycle closing, which is March 5th, 2027.
Oh, that's great. There are a lot of organizations who maybe don't have dedicated grant writers.
Mhm.
How approachable is the application process for somebody who maybe doesn't have, this may be their first time writing a grant application?
I love this question, and I'm going to pause here because there are so many of you watching, and you're sending me messages on LinkedIn. So please, if you guys can put that in the chat, Stacy Billadu will be there to kind of answer your questions there live. But I want to reassure everyone, you do not have to be a professional grant writer to complete this application, okay? This application is designed to be straightforward and focused on your program, and it's broken up into 3 main sections, telling us about your organization, your program, and then your budget. We're not looking for complicated language. We're looking for clear, direct answers that help us understand the work. If you can clearly explain what you do, who you serve, and the impact you're making, then you can complete this application successfully. And I'm going to say this because I'm an Army veteran and I'm also a military spouse. We love our military acronyms, okay? So do not assume when you submit those applications that we are familiar with those military acronyms or even your internal language. Spell those things out and keep your language accessible. Please don't overthink it and focus on telling your story in a clear and honest way.
That's a great point about the acronyms. I know some of us get really confused with them. So we have another question in the chat. So we've talked about that piece. How important is the data in the application?
Ooh, that's a really good one. So that's very important, right? Tell us how many people you serve. Tell us what changes because of your program. Tell us those outcomes. Numbers show scale, stories show impact, and we need both.
I am sorry, my dog just ran into my office that I was not expecting.
Okay, hello.
Real life, right? So I love that. In fact, so let's actually if you can drop one word in the chat that describes your program, and then we'll use that and we'll pick another swag bag winner.
Okay.
And while we select a winner, let's talk about budget and how funding can be used.
Right. That's a really good question. So I know in the past we had some restrictions on the way that funding can be utilized for this, but most of that has been lifted. So funding can be used for any necessary program expense, such as salaries, supplies, facility needs, capital improvements, or professional services that directly support your program. Be clear and realistic in your budget. If you receive this funding, what will it allow for you to do that you cannot do today? Tie your dollars directly to impact. This year, our judges will select 5 award recipients, one which will be our top award recipient for the cycle. And that top award recipient will receive $100,000, with the remaining 4 receiving $75,000. And of course, everyone will receive that $50,000 advertisement package from the Military Times. But when you're writing that application, I want all of you to write it as if you are the top award recipient. What would you do if you received that $100,000?
I love that. And while we're looking for our next winner, we have a few more questions. I think let's see. Um, how about what are funding priorities for this year?
Great question. So we don't have funding priorities, and there
Okay.
are no themes across winning programs. In fact, each year the winning programs are selected based on the strength and uniqueness of the applications that we receive. So please, no funding priorities at all.
All right, great. Let me see here. We have a winner. We have Eric Sachs.
Hey,
So
congratulations.
congratulations, Eric. Stacy's going to send out a message to you. I apologize.
We have a third co-host.
We have a third co-host. This is Emma. Um, so we've also got some other questions coming in from the chat. What are the biggest mistakes you see when reviewing applications?
Kudos to whoever asked this question because it's one we see every single year. There are few common things that can weaken an otherwise strong application. One of the biggest is not clearly explaining what makes your program innovative. You can be doing incredible work, but if it's not clearly articulated, the judges can't fully understand what sets your program apart. Another is copying and pasting content directly from your website. Okay. Website language is often broad and written for a different audience, and this application needs to be clear, direct, and specific to the questions being asked. We often see organizations try to combine multiple programs into one application. Please don't do it. That makes the narrative feel disjointed and very hard to follow. So if you have more than one strong program that is eligible, you are absolutely encouraged and welcome to submit multiple applications. But just remember that each submission requires its own email login. And with that being said, every single year we wipe the system clean. So even if you have applied in previous years, you will have to create another account for this cycle. Another thing is attachments are an area where applicants sometimes really miss an opportunity. You can include up to 3 supporting documents, 10 pages each. Please use those wisely. Photos, testimonials, research. Let me stop for a second. Research that is reasonable. Please do not try to give us 2,900 pages of research. We love it that it's there, but we just don't have the bandwidth to review all that. And simple impact summaries can really help judges visualize the work and understand your outcomes. And a quick reminder, we actually cannot accept any additional emails or materials, or excuse me, any materials that are emailed. Everything must be uploaded into the application portal. And finally, this is the most important thing, Lisa. Please do not wait until the last minute to submit your application. Give yourself time to review your answers. And if possible, have someone else read your application before you submit it. A second set of eyes can truly make the difference. And I am always here, not a week out, but typically earlier in the cycle to be there to be that second set of eyes for you.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I know a lot of us, I have a tendency to wait until the last minute. So that is great advice that we all need to remember. We've gotten a few questions, if you don't mind taking a few more from online.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about budget. There is somebody asking, is there supposed to be a specific financial ask, or do we send out set amounts of money for each winner?
Right. So that is a question that comes up every single year. So we have 5 award recipients that we know will be selected as of now, right? That could change, but as of this award cycle, and previous, we have 5 award recipients. And the first will receive $100,000 and the remaining 4 will receive $75,000. So when you are submitting your application, fill it out as if you were that top award recipient and what would you do if you were awarded that $100,000. We really want to see how those funds will enhance or improve your program and the reach of it as well.
And I get another question in here that their numbers aren't huge. They provide direct mental health support. Does this disqualify you? Because they're more focused on quality. And I think that where that storytelling comes in, like you said earlier.
Absolutely.
right?
Please don't be discouraged. We want to hear about your program. We've had, very, very small organizations win. We've had large organizations win, but it comes down to what story are you telling, right? We want to see, like I said, that quantitative data come in to be able to support what you're saying, but we also want to hear the stories. What you're doing matters, and your stories and their stories deserve a platform to be heard on. So please do not be discouraged. Please submit an application.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads into another question about those supporting materials we were just talking about. We
Mhm.
talked about documents and stuff, but what about other kind of attachments that you can use, such as maybe photos or something else that helps strengthen that application?
Absolutely. So, attachments again are the easiest way to strengthen your application. And I always encourage applicants to use them intentionally. Think of attachments as a way to help the judges see your work, not just read about it, right? So, photos of your program in action, testimonials from people that you're serving, short impact stories, or even simple infographics that show your outcomes. Those are all really, really helpful. As I said before, we can only receive those 3 up to 10 pages each. But a lot of you still try to stick in those 70 to 2,000 pages worth of things. So again, I can only, because these are physical binders I'm printing out. They are much larger than Harry Potter books that I have to print out for our judges. So I want to be respectful of that. So again, I will only print out for them those first 10 pages. So please use that space wisely. And just as a reminder, again, I cannot accept anything by email or after the closing date. So make sure all of those things are uploaded into the application portal.
Great. I love that. Yeah. We're seeing a question from the chat. What would you say to smaller organizations, kind of along those same lines you were saying before, or those who've applied before and weren't selected? Should they still apply?
Okay. I want to take a moment to speak to my 2 groups here that we always see, which are those smaller organizations and those who have applied before. Okay, so let's start with our smaller organizations. Please do not count yourself out. This program is not about the size of your budget or the size of your staff. It is about the impact you're making and the strength of your program. Some of the most compelling applications we receive come from organizations doing very focused, high impact work in their communities. And for those of you who have applied before and have not been selected, please do not be discouraged. Okay. Each year is a new cycle with a new pool of applicants and a new panel of judges with fresh perspectives. So, we have had multiple award recipients who have applied more than once before being selected. So please, please, please keep on applying each and every year. If your program is strong and you are making a difference, again, we want to see your application, and please continue to do the great work you're doing.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads into a great question about the program's award cycle. And I know we've had one question in particular. We do have one grant cycle per year. But can you tell us a little bit about that cycle?
Absolutely. And this is a question I wish people would ask more because I know it's a bit confusing. But once the application window closes in March, that's when I jump into action. So the night of March 5th, I will download everything and we will begin reviewing that. We're going to do an internal review with our senior leadership here at Fisher House Foundation. And then from whatever number of applicants that we receive, we narrow those down to 30. And then those 30 applications go in front of our judging panel, who is comprised of our joint chief spouses and our trustees. So by mid-August, we'll notify all applicants about their status. I know that you guys are really excited every single time you guys submit an application. And some people are asking me almost on a weekly basis, do we know yet? Do we know yet? Unfortunately, I cannot provide updates on your application or even give feedback. But again, by mid-August, you will receive something from me. It's really important, however, that applicants keep an eye out on their inboxes because those who make it to the final stages will have time-sensitive tasks to complete. And then once that process is over, we will have our award recipients come out to Washington, D.C. in late October, where they will receive their funds via check, and we'll have a beautiful, beautiful ceremony for them to celebrate them. And then everyone always while I'm thinking about it, always wants to know, what commitments do I have after I receive this check, right? Following the ceremony, award recipients are required to submit a 6-month and 12-month update outlining how their funding was used. And recipients will also provide a short video update along with photos of their program in action, which may use for us to promote the following cycles.
That makes sense. Let's talk about the impact of the award itself. I mean, you mentioned before the amazing amount we've, given out since 1999. Beyond the funding, what does winning the Fisher Service Award really mean for an organization?
Oh my gosh, the funding is incredibly important, but what many of our recipients tell us is that the visibility and recognition is just as valuable. Winning this award puts your organization on a national platform. Through our partnership with the Military Times, awardees receive a national advertising package, which we mentioned before, which helps expand awareness of the work and the populations that they serve. And we also see organizations gain new partnerships, attract new donors, and increase their reach because of that visibility. I have so many, just warm stories of, former applicants that have gone on to just really just be catapulted, and it just really warms my heart. Emma is agreeing with me. So this is just not a one-time award. It can truly help accelerate your growth and expand your impact.
I'm so sorry.
No, Emma had something to say, Lisa.
She did. She's excited about the program. She loves it too.
Of course.
Of course. So we've got lots of questions coming in from everybody. So if you don't mind taking a few minutes to answer some of these, we've got someone is asking if we look at charity ratings as part of the decision process.
What an incredible question that has never been asked before. Absolutely. So when you guys submit your applications and you make it to that final round of judging, before it even goes to our final judging panel, so that top 30, we do a financial review and I guess what would be a digital footprint review. And that includes looking to see what your charity rating is, making sure that your social media is healthy, I think is the best word. We want to make sure that, when you become an award recipient, you're our Fisher House family. And we want to make sure that we're all, sustainable, our finances are healthy, and the messaging is, similar to one of, say, Fisher House Foundations. I do want to give, if you don't mind, Lisa, some advice on this. We have had award recipients in the past that have made it to the final rounds and were almost self-eliminated because, they were posting things about, politics and these things. And I think it's important for me to say, please have your voice, but separate that from what you have on your professional or organization's social media pages. That I have seen become an issue in recent years.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If the program is a collaboration between two nonprofits, both 501(c)s, but one has been in existence for just over a year, can they still apply under the more established nonprofit?
I thought that, yes, you can. And I understand why you're asking that question because of that 2-year requirement of waiting. So absolutely, you can use, I would say, make the one that is more established the primary. And then you can kind of explain in that application that it's a joint venture that you guys are on for the program. And that should be just fine. As long as you're clearly explaining that in the application for our judges to understand, you should be fine.
Okay. And if an applicant is fiscally responsible, but does not have their own Charity Navigator profile, how do we look at that?
Great question. I want to say this because, and actually I appreciate whoever asked that question because, when you are a nonprofit that's a newer nonprofit just starting out, a lot of people don't even know that's something they should be working towards, right? Or that they should be submitting for. That is not going to disqualify you, right? It's more than that. We're also looking at your 990s, right? So don't allow for the Charity Navigators or all those out there to be a deterrent. If you don't have a presence there, that's fine. We'll look at your 990 and you should be all set.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I think those are most of if we did not answer your question, we will definitely make sure to get with you and we'll go through and kind of send things through. And Jessa, I believe it was. Yes, who knows, you may get extra points if you refer to Emma in your application. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
It means we know that you watched. So before we close out and before we're gonna do our final swag giveaway.
Yeah.
And as Shay is answering this last question, drop your name in the chat of your program and one sentence describing the impact that you're making.
Yeah.
And we'll pick our final winner from the responses.
Emma.
And Shay, I'm going to end on this. For organizations that are serious about being competitive, what is the one piece of advice that you would give that would truly strengthen their application and really set them apart?
That's a great, great question to end on. And I just want to point out for everyone watching, Emma is crying because this live is coming to an end. So I just want to put that out there that's why she's sad. If you want to be competitive, you have to move beyond describing what you do and clearly show the value of what you do. That's what I've seen. A lot of applications tell us about their activities, but the strongest applications show us their outcomes. So I would like to challenge all of you to answer this. What is different in someone's life because your programs exist? Be specific, right? Not just we serve veterans, but how many? Not just we provide support, but what changed? Not just we offer services, but what outcomes have you seen because of them? The second thing is going to be alignment. Make sure every part of your application connects. Your problem statement with your problem design, with your budget, with your impact. It should all tell one clear and consistent story. And the third is clarity over complexity. You don't need big words or complicated language, right? The most compelling applications that I have seen are the ones that are easy to read and just really easy to understand. If a judge can read your application once and clearly explain your program to someone else, you've done your job well. So some advice I give all applicants: you can be incredibly passionate about your work, but if it's not clearly explained on paper, the judge can't fully understand it. So clarity will win every day of the week. And finally, again, please respect your work enough to give yourself enough time on that application, right? Build time to write it, step away from it, come back, refine it, have someone else review it, because a strong program deserves a strong application. And I truly believe that if you do these things, you will absolutely put yourself first in a competitive way to really, really, make it through to that next round.
That's great. You had it. Quiet Emma crying over there. She is sad that we're ending. So we have a final winner, Elijah Montepera.
Hey, congrats, Elijah.
I'm sure I said that wrong. I apologize. But let us know, and Stacy will reach out to you to get your information so we can get that swag bag out to you. Awesome. And feel free to keep putting in comments and questions. Shay and I will be able to go through and answer some of those throughout the week. Mm-hmm. And we want to thank you guys so much for watching us here today. And if you missed us live, this will be posted both on YouTube and on LinkedIn this evening. And please, if you are a 501c or if you know a 501c who is doing outstanding work for our military community, please tag them below and encourage them to apply.
Yes. And also, please share this live, right? We want to reach as many organizations as possible. And this is truly from the bottom of my heart. And for those of you who have scheduled time with me, you know how I feel about this. But so many of you are doing meaningful, impactful work in the military community, and Fisher House Foundation and Military Times are honored to recognize and celebrate that work. So again, if I didn't get to your question, please feel free to email me directly. My email is, let me say, I thought it was smart to hyphenate my name when I got married, and now I have a very long email. So we will put it in the chat, but it is sspencer-watson@fisherhouse.org, or leave a comment here, like Lisa said, and I will go through the chat, later on this evening and throughout the week to get those questions answered. Your work matters, and that's exactly what this program is about. So thank you again for joining us today, and thank you for everything all of you are doing to serve our military and veteran community.
Oh, Emma said it's ending. She knows it's ending. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next year.
Yay.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. Emma.